Your 20s and 30s can shape the rest of your life. As a psychotherapist and coach, I've learned some powerful lessons from my clinical work and my own struggles. Here are 20 life lessons I wish my clients learned sooner, especially lessons number 8, 14, and 20, which most people don't even realize until it's too late. Lesson 1. My godfather Graham was a healthy man, living his life and enjoying his hobbies. One day, my godmother heard a loud thump. Graham had suffered a fatal heart attack. He didn't have any pre-existing conditions, and just like that, he ceased to exist. So the lesson here is keep death in mind. Now, I know that sounds morbid, but life could be much shorter than you think. So stop procrastinating and do what needs to be done before it's too late. But if life can end at any moment, what's the real risk we should all be worried about? Lesson 2. Often, people regret the things they did not do rather than the things they did. The biggest risk is not taking any risks and then looking back later in life wishing that you had taken opportunities when they had presented themselves. However, chasing opportunities isn't enough if you make this next mistake. Lesson 3. I think younger generations, especially in their 20s, can give up so quickly thanks to the instant gratification culture we live in today. For example, I've seen people giving up on trying to get into shape after only a month or two at the gym. This would be like playing a few football games and being disappointed that you're not playing for the Premier League. Success is not overnight, and the majority of successes are often the culmination of years and years of unwavering dedication. So stop quitting so early and expecting instant results. Yet, even with patience, there's a hidden factor quietly destroying your performance. Lesson 4. What if I told you that there was a super drug that could improve your immune system, your mood, cognitive ability, athletic performance? Would you take it? Well, unfortunately, such a drug doesn't exist, but luckily, there's a completely natural process called sleep, which will give all of us these benefits. So protect your sleep like your life depends on it, because it really does. But what comes next goes even deeper than sleep itself. Lesson 5. It is hard not to be affected by toxic social environments, as we are social beings. I've even seen some of my doctor clients get depressed because of being surrounded by toxic colleagues. If even doctors aren't immune to toxic people, then neither are you. The people you hang around with are shaping who you think you are today. So be really mindful which social and work environments you put yourself into. The right ones will help you thrive and grow. The wrong ones will crush your self-esteem and spirit. However, even more destructive than toxic groups is something most people carry inside. Lesson 6. So many people carry unseen trauma, baggage, and wounds. We only see the tip of the iceberg above the surface, not what lurks below. We see the bad behavior, the intense reactions, the rejection, but not the internal process or their history. So stop taking how others behave towards you so personally. It will help you to keep your peace massively. Now, I'd love to hear from you. How old are you? And what's one life lesson you wish you'd learned earlier? Drop it in the comments below, and I'll be reading and replying. Now pay attention, because this next lesson is super important. Lesson 7. Trying to avoid critics is like trying to avoid the rain in England. Spoiler, it's almost guaranteed that somewhere in England, it's going to be raining. The only way to avoid criticism is to say nothing, do nothing, and be nothing. And the more successful you are, the more critics you will get. But the good news is, the more fans you'll have too. So the lesson here is accept critics will be part of life. However, the truth about this next lesson might sting more than any critic ever could. Lesson 8. Unfortunately, time does not heal all wounds. Often, the trauma is still there, but it stays buried in the unconscious parts of your mind, and it can get reactivated under certain circumstances. For example, it might be when someone doesn't reply to a text, or when someone comments on your appearance. You have more trauma than you realize. Work on your trauma. or it will trip you up when you least expect it. Lesson 9. As one of my psychologist friends says, we're all doing life for the first time. You're going to make mistakes and you're going to get it wrong. Yes, a lot of us may have internalized that we must be perfect, perhaps from our parents or teachers who may have been too hard on us when we did something wrong as kids. Life is a never-ending journey of learning and unlearning. Stop expecting yourself to be perfect. Forgive yourself. Yet, perfectionism is only part of the trap. The next trap might just sneak up on you. Lesson 10. The longer you use bad habits, the more ingrained they become and the more reinforced neural pathways are, making them harder to beat later. And not only that, but those bad habits could be doing irreparable physical damage. You don't want to get to your 40s with chronic health conditions because of your bad habits in your 20s and 30s. So whatever bad habits you have today, you must start working on them now before it's too late. But even habits aren't the hardest thing. This next lesson might be even harder. Lesson 11. There is more you cannot control than you realize. The hardest things to change are often actually other people. Even us, psychotherapists and coaches, can find it difficult to change people at times, and that's with the client's full cooperation and having a full arsenal of psychological tools. You cannot always control other people's behaviors or actions, but you can certainly control your own. So stop trying to change what you cannot control and start focusing on that which you can. Ironically, focusing on what you can control is actually how you gain more control. But this next lesson is crucial, especially as you get older. Lesson 12. Some friendships are like glass balls. So if you drop the ball once, some friendships can become irrevocably shattered. Trust me, I've learned this one the hard way and it's been really painful. Never take friends for granted, and if you screw up, apologize promptly and ask how you can put it right. But there's something even more poisonous than losing friends. Lesson 13. In 12-step recovery groups like Alcoholics Anonymous, they actually say that resentment is the #1 offender for relapse. Resentment is closely linked to anger, and anger has a way of hijacking our rational brain known as an anger attack. So the lesson here is forgive people, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace, and it will help you to beat bad habits. Lesson 14. Many people, and certainly some of my previous clients, unconsciously have expected that someone is going to magically show up and fix their life. The truth is, no one is coming. You have to start showing up for yourself. You must become the loving parent you may have never had. That romantic partner you're waiting to come along to love you and unconditionally heal all the pain, you must become them. You can become them. In internal family systems therapy, we would say that you must develop a self-to-part relationship. So the parts of you which are seeking love or feeling unlovable, you must start loving these parts. So stop waiting for someone to come and save you. Start doing the work. Go and see a therapist if you have to. However, showing up for yourself isn't enough either without this next crucial life lesson. Lesson 15. As human beings, we all need a sense of purpose. This is actually considered a fundamental human need in the Human Givens model of psychotherapy. If we don't get this need met sufficiently, we can become mentally unwell. So have a think about this. Do you have a strong sense of purpose? Is there a cause that you could join that's larger than yourself? Maybe that could be a mission, serving a community. So if you only live for yourself, not only will this make life more meaningless, it may even make you feel more depressed. Yet purpose alone won't save you because your future is shaped by something much smaller. Lesson 16. The actions you take on a daily basis are shaping your future. Whether it's just eating a salad, exercising, if you have a big goal, a little bit every day is often going to be better. Those inches will become yards, which then become miles, and before long, you'll have made huge strides. But even the right actions won't protect you from this next unsettling truth. Lesson 17. I really wish a lot of my clients, especially with childhood trauma, could internalize this belief that it wasn't their fault. It was because their parents were sick and dysfunctional. The truth is, we actually live in a very sick society. While there are a few really good people, there's also a lot of dysfunction. Now, some of it is very obvious, but a lot of it flies under the radar quietly. I actually joke to my friends that the world is basically just one big psychiatric ward. But once you accept this, you'll find a lot more peace. You won't be as disappointed or surprised when people do mean or nasty things. This will also help you to improve your self-esteem, as you won't be blaming yourself for other people's crappy behavior. But try to respond with compassion, patience, and tolerance, as if you would if there was a sick patient in the hospital. Try to be the light in the darkness and be part of the solution. However, when the world feels broken, where do you turn to for strength? Lesson 18. At some point, this ride in life can get pretty bumpy. Whether it's a financial or a health crisis, an unexpected bereavement, a disaster, who or what will you put your faith in? Research has shown a strong positive correlation between spirituality and resilience. Develop a relationship with a higher power and adopt some kind of regular spiritual practice. Yet, even faith and resilience can't help you if you ignore this next critical lesson. Lesson 19. Life is sometimes like trying to reverse a car around a difficult corner, and sometimes you need someone on the outside who can point out any blind spots. You can be an expert often at one or maybe two things, but you cannot be an expert at everything. So when it comes to trying to improve your life, your health, or whether you're trying to stop procrastinating or stop bad habits, stop trying to figure it all out on your own. You will get so much more out of working with a professional therapist or coach, more than you ever will from trying to figure it out on your own. And that's because we all have blind spots and hidden traumas, even me. And now comes the twist. The lesson almost nobody expects. Lesson 20. Now, this is going to be surprising to some viewers, and it's contrary to every motivational video out there. The truth is, you only get to live your 20s and 30s once. And I absolutely encourage you to be working on yourself, your goals, and pursue your ambitions and dreams. But I also want you to remember that the dying regret of many people is, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Life isn't all about achievements in money. And trust me, I've had very wealthy and very successful clients still get depressed. Remember to live a little. You only get to live this life once. Plus, the way to avoid burnout is to give yourself occasional doses of fun, recreation, and relaxation. And that's the paradox. The greatest lesson might not be about doing more. So as we say in England, remember to stop and smell the roses. Now, out of all of these life lessons, I'm really curious to know which ones were perhaps most unexpected or the most useful for you. Comment below. I'd really love to know your thoughts. Now, if you've enjoyed learning from my personal and clinical experience, then you might need to watch my next video here, where I'll share the 7 biggest mistakes to avoid when trying to quit bad habits. After all, if you don't stop now, the consequences are going to catch up with you later in life.